Last night's episode of You erupted into absolute pandemonium, a ferocious clash that left everyone stunned and social media ablaze. Imagine Ricky Gervais, the razor-sharp British comedy titan, striding onto the set like a warrior facing a pack of wolves only to demolish Sunny Hostin in a verbal onslaught that shattered her sanctimonious pedestal. This wasn't just a guest appearance gone rogue, it was a masterclass in exposing fake outrage, hypocrisy, and the rotten core of daytime TV sensationalism. Gervais didn't show up to play nice. He came to dominate, and by the end, Sunny's carefully constructed aura of moral superiority was reduced to ashes. This wasn't about promoting his Netflix special. It was a cultural tsunami that rocked the foundations of cancel culture and performative virtue. Buckle up, because in diving deep into every electrifying detail, every biting quip, and every jaw-dropping moment that made this the most explosive TV showdown in years. We're talking 5,000 words of raw, unfiltered truth, no fluff, just a thrilling saga that had everyone from comedians to armchair critics losing their minds. Rewind the build-up, because this firestorm didn't spark out of thin air. The ABC studios in New York were crackling with tension from sunrise. Ricky Gervais, 52, with his scruffy beard and that sly glint in his eye, arrived early to plug his latest Netflix special, Armageddon. But he sensed the ambush from a moment. He stepped in, producers swarmed him like jittery ants, handing over a thick stack of guidelines, a catalog of trigger warning, forbidden topics, and sensitivity rules that screamed censorship manifesto. No jokes about religion, politics, identity, or anything that might cause harm. They urged faces stiff with fake smiles. Gervais smirked. So basically no comedy at all, he quipped. But they didn't laugh. This was serious business to them. Preemptive damage control. A makeup artist later spilled that she overheard Sunny Hostin in her dressing room, venom oozing from every word. This transphobic trash needs to be exposed, she allegedly hissed. I don't care, he's funny. He's dangerous. Sunny, the former federal prosecutor turned TV pundit, had her crosshairs on Gervais like a missile locked on target. She had built her brand on wielding legal jargon like a blade, mixing it with unshakable moral authority to call out oppressors on national TV today. She saw Gervais as the poster child for comedy's evils, a white straight male Brit who dared to jest about sacred cows like wokeness, identity politics, and celebrity hypocrisy. The pre-show meeting cranked the drama higher. Producers pulled Gervais aside, whispering, respect Sunny's perspective. No matter what, facts aren't everything here. It's about feelings. Gervais nodded, but inside, he was sharpening his wit. Head roasted Hollywood elites at the Golden Globes without blinking. This was a breeze compared to mocking Tom Hanks' woke credentials to a room of listers backstage. While the warm-up comedian droned with safe material, lame bits about coffee and traffic, Gervais scribbled notes on his phone. He jotted down the views, hypocrisies, their history of soft-pedaling controversial guests, their selective outrage, and Sunny's own tweets mocking conservatives, white people, and men. Without backlash, as the show kicked off, the panel Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah, Griffin, and Sunny Hostin dove into hot topics. The air was thick with self-righteous vibes as they dissected daily outrageous celebrity scandals, political missteps, cultural flashpoints. Sunny led the charge, her voice soaring with prosecutorial zeal. Comedians who profit from pain are no better than bullies, she declared, eyes blazing. They hide behind humor to spew bigotry, and it's time we hold them accountable. Words are violence. Joy nodded, nervously aware of Gervais' reputation for shredding critics. Whoopi stayed neutral, her comedy roots making her cautious about blanket condemnation. But Sunny was on a mission, citing accountability culture and the need to silence harmful voices. She was setting the stage to cast Gervais as the villain who needed to be vanquished. Then came the moment. Please welcome Ricky Gervais, Whoopi announced. With her gravelly warmth, the audience erupted in mixed cheers and hesitant claps. Some fans thrilled to see the afterlife creator, others sitting arms crossed, primed by social media smears. Gervais strolled out in jeans and a black t-shirt, waving casually, his posture radiating unshakable confidence. He took his seat, slowly scanning the host like a scientist studying a bizarre species. When his gaze hit Sunny, he lingered. Sunny Hostin, he said with a disarming smile, I Google you, former federal prosecutor turned daytime TV star. Quite the career pivot from locking up bad guys to lecturing funny guys. Sunny bristled but held her composure. And proud of my evolution, she fired back. Evolution? Gervais leaned his British accent, slicing like a knife. You went from prosecuting criminals to prosecuting comedians. That's not evolution, love. That's devolution. The audience chuckled uneasily. Sunny, launch her attack. Your comedy hurts people. Ricky, you mock trans individuals, disabled people, religious communities. It's not funny. It's oppressive. Say that again, Gervais demanded, voice steady but fierce. He leaned closer, eyes locked on hers. Say, I mock trans individuals. Give me one specific example, one actual quote where I mock trans people rather than discuss the absurd discourse around trans issues. Go on, I'm waiting. Sunny fumbled with her note cards, flustered. Well, your entire special. You haven't watched it, have you? Gervais cut in, not missing a beat. You read outraged tweets, seen clip snippets out of context, but you haven't watched the whole thing. Because if you know, I never mock trans people. I mock the ridiculous extremes of the debate, the hypocrisy, the overreach. There's a difference, but that requires nuance, and nuance doesn't make for snappy TV sound bites. Joy jumped in the back, Sunny, but Ricky, you have to admit some of your jokes are offensive. Gervais turned to her unfazed. Everything's offensive. To someone, Joy, you made jokes about Christians, Republicans, Southerners. Hell, you roasted entire groups on this show. Are those not offensive? Or is offense only valid when it's aimed at targets you agree with? He stood up, then his presence dominating the set. The camera zoomed in as he pointed at Sunny Hostin. What's really going on, you? He said, finger jabbing, have figured out that outrage equals ratings, victimhood equals virtue claiming offense. Gives you power, so you build a career on it. But you're not actually offended, you're opportunistic. How dare you, Sunny, gas face flushing. How dare I would call out your hypocrisy. You had Harvey Weinstein on this very show, lobbed him softball. Questions laugh as quips, but comedian joking about Hollywood's double standards. That's where you draw the line. Give me a break. The audience murmur. Phones emerging to record. Gervais pulled out his own phone. Want to see something fun? These are your tweet, Sunny, jokes about white people, men, conservatives. Generalizations, stereotypes, straight up. Mockery, but that's fine, right? Because you're on the right side of history. That's completely different, Sunny protested. Say that again. Gervais challenge. Explain how your mockery is righteous, but mine is violence. Explain the difference without sounding like a total hypocrite. Ill weight. Sunny was trapped, her logic crumbling. She stammered, but no clear answer came. Gervais pressed on, pulling a folded paper from his pocket. This is fascinating. The views, advertising demographics. Your audience, 92% white, middle-aged, upper-middle-class women. You're performing diversity for the least diverse crowd on TV, selling wokeness to folks who've never faced real oppression. That's not activism. That's theater, pure and simple. Whoopi tried to mediate Ricky. That's not fair. What's not fair, Whoopi? You're a comedian. Yourself, you know, comedy thrives on risk, on pushing boundaries. But you sit here quiet while she turns into a thought crime. You've sold out your own craft for a steady paycheck. The words hit hard. Whoopi's face twisted in conflict, her Oscar-winning comedy career flashing before her eyes. Gervais wheeled back to Sunny. You want to know what really offends me? People like you using real suffering as a shield for your agenda. Trans folks face genuine discrimination. Disabled people battle real challenges. And you hijack their struggles to score points on TV. That's not allyship, that's exploitation. In fighting for marginalized communities, Sunny insisted, no, you're speaking for communities that never elected you their spokesperson. You're a wealthy, straight, cisgender woman claiming to be the voice of the oppressed. The arrogance is staggering. He edged closer to the tension. Electric comedians point out absurdity, highlight hypocrisy, make people think. Through laughter, you make people afraid to think. By waving the cancellation stick, who's the real oppressor? Hear your words cause harm. Sunny fired back. Your censorship causes more. When you silence comedians, you don't protect people, you infantilize them. You're saying they're too fragile for jokes. That's not respect, it's condescension. Then Gervais got personal. Know who messaged me after my last special? Trans comedians, gay comedians, disabled comedians. They get comedies about shared humanity, not segregated safe spaces. But you wouldn't know because you don't listen. You just lecture the audience, split applause from some discomfort from others. Gervais address them directly. You're being fed this lie. That laughter is violence. That jokes are oppression. That's not progressive, it's puritanical. The same liberals enforcing conservative style censorship, horseshoe theory, in living color. You're oversimplifying, Sunny said, desperation creeping in. In clarify, you complicate to seem smart. I simplify to reveal truth. That's comedy's magic, cutting to the bullshit. But Gervais wasn't done. He started walking toward the exit, the ultimate power. Move him out of here. But let me leave you with this. He turned face in the panel. In 10 years, you'll all pretend you champion free speech, that you always back comedy. You'll rewrite history to be the heroes. But we got to take the evidence. You're the morality police. You rail against the censors you claim to fight everything wrong with discourse draped in a rainbow flag. To look woke. That's hate speech, Sunny shouted. Say that again. Gervais demanded, stopping in his tracks. Call it hate speech. Prove my point that disagreement is hate to you. That challenging ideas is violence. Show everyone who's a real authoritarian. Sunny froze, her notes useless against raw debate. Gervais laughed, not cruel, but pitying. What's sad, you're probably a good person lost in the role you played this character. So long you've forgotten. It's fake. That's not activism, Sunny, that's tragedy. At the door, he turned one last time to everyone, told they can't laugh at certain things, made to feel guilty for humor and absurdity. Don't let them steal your joy. Don't let them police your thoughts. Comedy. Resist authoritarianism, left or right. Keep laughing, it terrifies them. He exited to chaos, standing ovations from some, boos from others, most stunned, silent. The show cut to commercial. But the real storm was brewing within minutes. Gervais destroys hypocrisy. Trended worldwide clips. Went viral, dissected everywhere. It wasn't partisan. Progressives praised his free speech stand. Conservatives defended his right despite disagreements. The conversation shattered. Echo chambers. Comedians rallied. Dave Chappelle called it a wake-up call for comedy. So Bill Burr tweeted, finally. Someone said it, Sarah Silverman. Added, we need more Rickies, unafraid to call out the call-outs. Sunny faced backlash from unexpected corners. Trans comedians rejected her protection, saying, we don't need saviors, we need space to joke to the communities she claimed to defend, called her out for paternalism. The next day, The View tried damage control. Sunny clarified, but it backfired, exposing her unrequested role as gatekeeper. Gervais' statement sealed it. I walked off not angry, but exhausted by those thinking humor needs permission. Comedy doesn't need defending. It's a defense against tyranny. It'll keep joking, they'll keep crying, world keep spinning. This became a watershed in culture wars, exposing progressive censorship's contradictions. Gervais, at 52, proved comedy's power isn't just laughs, it's thought-provoking rebellion. He chose laughter over approval, freedom over safety, honesty over comfort. The jester reminded the court, without jest, they're just tyrants in disguise. Now, let's expand this epic saga, because there's so much more to unravel. Picture the pre-show vibes, the studio humming with anticipation and dread. Gervais arrived in a black cab, stepping into the crisp New York morning, his mind racing with potential zingers. The doorman nodded, but the lobby felt cold. Staff whispering as he signed up in the green room. Coffee was lukewarm, pastries stale, small signs of hostility brewing. Producers hovered. One, a young woman with a clipboard, nervously outlining the segment. We're excited to have you, Mr. Gervais, but keep it light. Sunny's passionate about social issues. Gervais smirked. Passionate or performative? She blushed, changing the subject. In Sunny's dressing room, mirrors surrounded her as stylists fussed. She practiced lines, comedy as oppression, hiding bigotry behind humor. Her team nodded, one assistant pulling up Gervais' clips. He's toast. Sunny said confident. The warm-up act bombed, saved jokes falling flat. Gervais, eavesdropping, shook his head. That's not comedy, that's therapy. On set, lights blazed, audience primed. Whoopi steered chit-chat, joy cracked, wise Sarah balanced, Alyssa added insight. But Sunny pushed comedy's dangers, foreshadowing the clash. Gervais' entrance electrified. His opening jab at Sunny's career set the tone, witty, pointed, unrelenting. The debate intensified when Sunny accused mockery. Gervais demanded specifics, exposing her unpreparedness. Clips out of context. That's your evidence, do better. Joy's interjection drew fire. Your jokes offend too. Joy, selective outrage, much standing. Gervais commanded his outrage ratings line hit home, audience gasping. Pulling tweets, he dismantled double standards. Your mockery. Okay, explain that. Demographics reveal crushed their diversity. Facade theater for the privileged. Whoopi's defense faltered under his sellout accusation. Personal offense twist, using suffering for agenda struck deep. Allyship versus exploitation, arrogance breathtaking. Comedians versus fearmongers who's oppressing. Censorship harm, infantilizing, condescending. Messages from marginalized comedians, they get it, you don't. Audience address, lie, expose, oversimplifying, clarify. Reply, walking, exit, power statement. Leave, think history, rewrite, hate speech, point, prove, frozen. Sunny. Defeat, moment, sad, pity, act, tragedy, exit. Turn, joy, message, mixed reactions, chaos, cut, commercial break. Behind scenes, frenzy. Trending, global. Gervais legend. Debate, transcend unity, sparks comedians rally, freedom defense. Backlash, unexpected community speak. Damage, next day, worse clarification. Statement, release, exhaustion, truth. Watershed culture, contradiction, expose.